Back at you again with another edition of Words with the Birds. Before we get started, I want to give all praise to the Most High. Without Him, I wouldn't be able to do this again. And I want to say thank you, peace and salutations to especially Israel and especially those of you watching. All right, so we're going to jump this thing off by tapping into the word culture. Very important. To me anyway. Culture, pronounced culture, has a Latin origin from the word cultus, meaning to care. Also has a French origin, meaning, or the French word colire, meaning to till or to grow. And I have an antonym of to till or to grow, means to oppress or to destroy. And the inspiration behind it is this right here, Genesis 22:18, where God told Abraham, and through your offspring, all nations of the earth will be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. Right? Why is this important? Because Abraham is a forefather. Right? So he's saying through your offspring, meaning through your descendants. So if Abraham is your father, that means through you all nations of the earth will be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. So if you know who you are, all nations of the earth will be blessed through you because you have obeyed my voice. You have to be very obedient, right? To be able to process this knowledge from this and understand what this means. Because this eradicates all hate, which is my only job here, right? So by this, it says, through your offspring, all nations will be blessed. That means by one nation, the other nation shall be blessed, right? This is biblical. So those people who speak ill on certain things and certain nations and create conflict, a lot of times you're creating conflict within yourself, which is the purpose for this, right? So let's tap into the definition of culture. Culture is the customs, the arts, social institutions, achievements of a particular nation, people, or social group, right? And we got the definition of culture. And let's tap into law. Law is legislative bodies implemented for the protection of a particular group. Meaning, you have the U.S. government, right, who protects Americans as a whole, right? But within the land of America, we have national historical sites and we have state parks, which are being protected to conserve beauty and to remain environmental friendly, right? So this message is particularly for my people because a lot of times we like to brag about the small things that we have, right? But the most important thing that we need is protection. So a lot of us brag on items and small first downs that we celebrate as touchdowns because we gain small things when in reality, since I'm a follower of the good book, Jesus fed 5,000 with a little bit, with a couple fish. We ain't even got to get into an exact number, but he fed 5,000, right? So we got people now who have millions and billions and ain't feeding nobody but themselves, right? So legislative bodies implemented for the protection. Example, the government. So that relation, how does culture relate to this law? Culture is what people adhere to prior to the enactment of law, right? So before there was a law, we had tribal communities, right? We had tribal communities. And not only did we have tribal communities, we can go even smaller and look at hemp, right? Indigenous Americans cultivated hemp, right? For clothing, paper, shoes, carpet, mattresses, and it also had medicinal purposes, which we're thankful for Trump, we allowed to tap into, throughout this coronavirus, so that small example of one item being serving multiple purposes before there was a law enacted. So if law is enacted to outlaw this, right, it cripples this culture, right? So now we have laws coming back and tests coming back and scientists proving that this does have environmental friendly benefits as well as therapeutic benefits. So hopefully we get this back, we restore culture. Another form of that is dance, right? So we align ourselves with, let's save that example. So it's relation to law, meaning certain things could be outlawed, implemented, brought into law to either help or cripple an entire group of people, right? So by maintaining your culture, you can implement laws to protect your culture. But by giving up your culture, what you're basically saying is you're aiding to your own oppression and destruction, right? So more culture means we provide proper opportunities to satisfy our wants and needs, right? What does that mean, right? No more culture vultureness, no more vulture capitalism. What do I mean by that? People having cameras and microphones in your house and in your car and being able to listen to your ideas and have the money to then go capitalize on that idea, then recoup funds and feed their family, right? With no harm being done. That's not culture, right? Tribal people looked out for the entire whole, right? So we provide proper opportunities to satisfy our own wants and needs, meaning we have to take care of ourselves. I find it funny how a lot of people want to blame a lot of different societies and nations and different things, but we can't look at ourselves and see that if we provide our own opportunities, it would then serve as protection by we can establish our own boundaries, which in turn regulates our conduct by assimilating one to group life, which then determines a particular group's eating habits, home structure, our scenery, our attire, and our medicinal remedies to cope with the stress and to cope with any virus that may come our way. How do we become immune to that, right? Because if we're scattered, when you don't talk to one another, right? There's no way for you to get knowledge passed down from grandma to mom to you, right? You're assimilating to other people's culture. Why is that? Because we want shiny things. We desire things that are not environmental friendly. And a lot of us like to, I ain't gonna say a lot of us, but there's people out there who would rather kick those while they're down rather than help lift them up. So through culture, which is what I stand on, which is what I pride myself in, it's all about togetherness. It's about creating another tribal community, within the nation, right? So it all starts with us, right? Because the most important rule to any government, which is what we should be focused on, right? We want money, we want finances, we want reparations for the things that are done to us, but what are we gonna do when we get them? What are the things that are important to maintaining whatever type of reward that you're seeking, right? The main thing is having commerce, right? Having an economy, right? This is what we hear Trump pride himself on. America's economy is number one, right? So if we want to have our economy of any sort, it could either be a small tribal. We just see the wonderful people in the 19 families out in Georgia who just purchased a plot of land, right? So let's just say I'm speaking to them since they've already done what I'm speaking on. Economy. What are they going to do? They're going to have wants and needs, right? So their scenery, right, is going to establish, or it's going to determine what their home structure is going to be like, what they can build off of, what they can use as building material, and depending on what's grown around the land is going to determine what they eat, right? Which then will determine what type of medicinal herbs can we use to also heal our body, right? So that's going to be determined. And a huge factor in that is there going to be things that does not grow on that land. It's just happening. Things that grow in America might not grow in Asia. Things that grow in Brazil may not grow in Senegal. And some things do, right? So that's where this word comes in, trade, right? So these families are going to want to trade their produce or whatever they're manufacturing or whatever they're producing on their land to satisfy their wants and needs, right? So I'm going to take my 5 bushels of corn and I'm going to ask for 5 loaves of bread. However it's being done. And what's most important with trade is establishing a relationship, right? A positive relationship. Taking accountability for oneself. Owning up to whether it's flaws, the good and the bad, right? Owning up to that and being transparent with your neighbor or with your trading nation, right? Which is going to require that we all seek some form, or going to find, we're going to have to find within us how to display a level of respect, not only for ourselves, but for all. Because like I said, no matter what you do, I don't care if you this flag, that flag, or all the many of them that come from. It says all nations of the earth will be blessed. Not some, not one, not 2, not 3. All nations of the earth will be blessed, right? So this means that all nations will have to do one thing: establish an economy and feed their own people. That's the main thing. We got so many, it's a big mass exodus. Everybody's leaving that country because they say, oh, it basically has been run poorly. Poor economy, poor commerce, you know? So basically what I'm trying to say is, no matter what nation you claim, because everybody thinks their nation is better than one, all I'm trying to say is you still have to trade for things. Your nation doesn't have everything you need. Well, some do. And when you do have everything you need, there's some things that you want. So in that same token, or in that same breath, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to be nice to you because you can supply my recreational, whether it's habits, maybe it's Cuban cigars. Maybe we like the fancy Ferraris or whatever it is, you know, the Ferraris from Italy. So whatever it is, we still have to establish a relationship with one another. So disrespect is having a lack of culture within yourself. So culture isn't based on one particular nation. It isn't based on one particular idol. Culture is in itself the customs, arts, social institutions, achievements of a particular nation, people, or social group. So this word applies to all, right? And it requires us all to not only aim to achieve, but also aim to protect those who are like us and who aren't like us. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. So we're going to protect Mother Earth. I want to backtrack and go to this environmental friendly thing that was outlawed. So we're going to move forward and push forward in the new 21st century, the new, let's pride ourselves in taking care of Mother Earth. Let's praise people who purchase land before they purchase diamonds. Let's praise people who value being studious rather than being some type of entertainment gimmick. Let's value people who are trying to restore order and who already show respect for all. Let's value those people before we value things that destroy the economy. Is all I'm asking for. Because at the end of the day, once this function serves its purpose, it will provide for are benefits both biologically and socially, right? Meaning, if I like to dance, right? We all should like to dance. You all should like to get your body moving in some form or fashion. So let's just say you're a salsa person, right? That would be considered Latin, Hispanic culture, right? Let's say you're a line dancer. You like to get you a little line in. You're going to probably find yourself at an Irish pub. Or let's just say you're from India and you want to do the kathak, right? Let's just say whatever your choice of this is a representation of culture. And just by simply from one word, right, from the dance, right, you go to a club, you meet a person who's doing the same dance as you, who enjoys the same thing as you. You share maybe, a glass of water or whatever you share with that person. You find out that, hey, we used to go to the same college, or hey, we used to go to the same gym. Oh, you want a date? Hey, so now, by respecting culture, by adhering to culture, by valuing culture, you've now solved as a single person. If you decided to go to a club, whether it's any culture, whatever you partake in, there's someone in there who's looking for you, if that makes any sense. So culture allows us to supply our wants and needs, not only things that we have to eat and the things that the things that we just see, but also once these two people get together, they're going to have children, which create the next generation, which is how culture continues to move. So by this showing you how small piece of culture starts generation after generation, so we continue to lead with disrespect, generation after generation leads with disrespect. But if you can kind of 180 that ship, lead with respect the culture, regardless of what it is, generation after generation of respectable, proud, patriotic, or whatever nation they claim, human beings, which is the goal and the aim. I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and that's the message for today.